Hello, everyone. My name is Bill. I'm an advisor with CUNY Start, and today I'm going to show you how to use Schedule Builder. Currently, we are in December of 2022. I'm going to be showing students how to register for spring of 2023. However, this can be used for any semester, so we can reuse this video. I'm showing you a specific semester, but this all applies to whatever semester you're viewing this video. So where do we begin? First off, you have to know what classes you've been advised to take. That's step one, get advised, being told what classes to take. Step two, you're going to actually now, is what we're going to do here. We're going to register you for the classes. If you've been advised, likely you will find the information here in DegreeWorks. Okay, you can talk to your advisor about how to find the plans in DegreeWorks. This is what, if you can't remember what classes your advisor told you to take, all that information is in DegreeWorks. But if you have been advised by an advisor from the advising center or ASAP or something like that, not a CUNY Start advisor, then you're going to go on to the next step. For us, and for the example I'm going to do today, I'm going to use the history degree at BMCC in the first year. So I'm going to use these classes as an example. So I'm going to imagine I'm a BMCC student and I was advised to take these classes. So you're going to go again to CUNY first. Here, when you log in, you're going to go to your student center. It looks like this, and you'll find Schedule Builder. Okay. When you open up Schedule Builder, depending on when, you may be offered multiple semesters. You want to think about the future semester, the semester that's coming up, and the semester you want to schedule for. So in this case, it's we are in the tail end of the fall 22 semester. So I'm going to be signing up for the 2023 spring semester. If, for example, you're viewing this at the end of the 2023 spring semester, you want to be looking for fall 2023, okay, or whatever semester is the next semester that you're looking into. And I say this because sometimes students choose the current semester because they think, oh, I'm in the fall semester, that's what I want to choose. But no, you want to sign up for a future semester. And then when you log in, you get something like this. These classes over here, I am a CUNY student, so and there's no way for me to show this to you without having my classes in, and I don't want to drop them. So they're here. They've been unselected, and hopefully we can kind of just ignore them. Okay, so I'm in Schedule Builder. I want to sign up for these classes here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of the Math 161, or I should say MAT 161, ENG 101, etc. And I'm going to put them into the select course. You might, when you're logging in and you've been advised, you may already the classes, you might have an option to just input the classes automatically, because Schedule Builder connect with DegreeWorks and say, oh, these are the classes you were advised to take. Boom, we're going to put them in. But you should know how to do this in case there's something you want to switch up or you have some choices or whatever. So let's do this. MAT 161. Okay. ENG 101. Okay, what else do we have? Speech 100. Philosophy 100. Okay, so here are our classes. So you'll see as we've selected these classes, they all automatically pop up here on the right. That's good. And we also, I want to point this out down here. So this thing, you want to make sure you push it into the first week of the semester. But one other thing you have to keep in mind, you want to make sure there's no holidays. So look up here and make sure there's no holidays. The reason for that, let's see if we can find a week that does have holidays. Okay, right. When there is a holiday, the classes don't show up here, and you won't get a true idea of what your normal week will look like if you schedule and you are looking at holiday, right? See, these classes disappeared. So right now, Monday, February 6th is no holiday. But if I move it up 1 week, there is a holiday and it disappears and it won't show it to you. So make sure this is a particularly dangerous thing if you're scheduling for the fall semester, because the fall semester, there's often some holidays at the beginning. Okay, so we're ready to schedule here, and we see here, okay, I have 4 classes in. I'm not putting all 5 in, I'm just going to put 4. I have over 200,000 options. And so the goal here is not to cycle through all 200,000 options. That's going to take you a very long time. We're going to go about this in a different way. So we have over here 4 classes, and we're going to schedule one at a time. Okay, put one class on and then put the next class on and the next class on. All right, so, well, which class do we start with? And here's one of the guidelines I'm going to suggest. Always start with the class that has the fewest meeting options, the class that meets the least often. And in this case, it's philosophy. They only meet 8 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck these other classes. Leaves me just with philosophy. And we go back up here, and now there's 5 choices. You might be saying to yourself, well, there's 8 here, but why is there 5 here? We'll get a chance to see. We're also going to say, I want to do this. I want to do my classes in the morning. So let's start there. All right, so the first thing we have happen is the class is not at all on the schedule. So we got to get some class details to find out what's happening right now. Okay, so here's another thing. These are asynchronous classes, and ideally you would have learned through your seminar class that asynchronous means that this is a recorded, not live online class. Okay, this is a class where the teacher, just like I'm doing now, has recorded a video of the lecture, has uploaded it to somewhere on Blackboard. You have to watch the lecture, take notes, and do assignments and stuff like that. You do them when you have time. And as much as this class is extremely convenient because you do it when you have time, you don't have to come to campus. You don't have to log in at a certain time. If your internet's not working when you go to do it, you can wait till later when it might be working, right? There's a lot of flexibility here. That said, I'm going to strongly suggest that students do not take an asynchronous class for your first semester. This is, I think, an experience for students who are experienced with college classes and know the expectations. When you are first entering college, it is good to have a live teacher there to help guide you through the struggles and challenges of being in a college classroom. And this does not give you that option. Okay, so we're going to skip these. And by the way, so we saw there's 8 classes, 8 classes, but only 5 options up here. That's because sometimes there are classes, you drop this down, that meet at the exact same time or have the exact same setup. So they don't list them multiple times on this schedule over here. So that's why it's like that. So let's try to find a class that actually meets. Here we go. This class meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 to 10:45. That looks pretty good. It is in person, and I'm someone who wants to come in person as much as possible. I'm vaccinated, etc. One of the other things to note here as we go through this is there's probably not going to be, at this point, pandemic is mostly behind us, not completely for sure, but because the things are returning to normal, in quotes, there's going to be very few online options, and what was available to, say, students in 2000 is no longer going to be available, right? Where there was a point where everything was online. At this point, I see it being a very big challenge for students who are starting now to finish taking only online classes. Okay, so in person, 70 Murray Street. Okay, these are all getting progressively later in the day. I really like this 9:30 class. So I'm going to stick with this. In order to do this, right, I'm going to obviously add my next class. The next fewest options is math class here. I'm going to select that. But now, again, we have 2 classes here, and I have 75 options. But there's a reason for that, because they're going to show you every combination of Math 161 and Philosophy 100 that it can show you. Well, I don't want to see that. I'm going to actually put, just click on this, put a pin in there, and now I'm down to 15 options because this class I don't want moving. So I want to make sure there's a pin in there so I don't cycle through this. Now I'm going to look at the 15 options that they have for math. Again, we're going to start with an online asynchronous class. I'm staying away from that. Let's see what else we have. Well, this is kind of nice, right? So we have a class that meets at 8 a.m. and then a small break and it goes right in. So on these days, I can come in Tuesdays and Thursday mornings and be done with 2 classes by 11 o'clock. So if I'm a morning person, this might work out, but there's something else to look out for. This is an in-person class. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be in campus anyways for my philosophy class. However, this is main building South 714, and this ends at 9:15. This starts at 9:30. It's not terrible, but I have only 15 minutes to pack up, put my jacket on, etc., and then move and relocate to 70 Murray Street. It's not terribly far away. It's about a 5-minute walk from the entrance of this building to the entrance of this building. Plus, so that gives me 10 minutes on the elevator rides and all of that stuff. Which is to say it might be a little tight. Might be a little bit tight. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think you should try to find something else. I think this is decent. We're going to look around a little bit, but that's not bad. But it is something to keep in mind. Okay, so here's on a different day. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay, something else to look out for. There are 2 main semesters, fall and spring, but we also have winter and summer sessions, and that's what this is. It's a winter session here. I knew something was up when I did not see anything over here. So I started to look at it like, why is there not a class here? One of the things I would look for, is it an asynchronous class? It's not, it's meeting in person. Okay, but here we have winter, okay, and it does not have the days that starts and ends. It has that down here, right? And I could see, so I don't want a winter class. Oops, I selected that by mistake. So let's see what else we have. I don't want a Saturday class. This isn't so bad. It's one solid day. This is a online synchronous class, which means it is scheduled. You do have to log in at a certain time and be online for a certain time. The teacher there to ask questions. This is not bad. You know, we certainly prefer students, or we suggest students to do this over an asynchronous class. So this is okay. It gives me a long gap. Maybe if I'm someone who's got a lot of time during the day, you know, I can fill this gap by going to clubs, doing homework, stuff like that. Maybe that's not a bad idea, but now it's getting later and later. So I think I'm actually going to take this back to this. Let's try that. Be a little tight. Remember, also in the winter, you got to put your jacket and coat on and hat and all that stuff. Could be snowing, or could be crusty snow and hard to walk from one building to another. All these things you have to keep in mind. So this is a little bit pushing it. But if you're someone who walks slower, or all those kinds of things, something you might want to keep in mind for this stuff. Also note that professors don't always end exactly on time. So this class here is supposed to end at 9:15. It might end at 9:17 some days. It might end at 9:20 some days. Okay, there is no bell that ends the class. And professors have that space and latitude to go a little bit late, right? So just be mindful of all of those kinds of things. So it's a little bit dangerous, but I'm just going to go with that for now. So let's go back here. We got English composition is going to meet 105 times, speech 127. So we're going to go to English next. Okay. So kind of like this. This means I have to be, you know, on campus every day at 8 a.m. Let's see what else is going on here. A lot of classes meeting at 8 a.m. Let's see what else we have though. Saturday, I don't want a Saturday class. Friday. Okay. Maybe I'm trying to have a day off during the week. Let's see if I can get something else. Okay, this is interesting, right? So I only have, this class only meets on Mondays. It is an online mix. So we have an asynchronous class with a synchronous class. Okay. So once a week, instead of, you'll see most classes meet twice a week. This class meets once a week here on Mondays. And then the other class is an asynchronous class, a recorded class like we have here. Again, this is better than an asynchronous class. So it's not the end of the world. But let's see, I'm going to keep looking for something else. Same deal there. This is interesting, right? So it's on the same day. I have a busy day on Tuesday and Thursdays. I come in. This gives me a little bit of a break. So my, let's see, philosophy class will be ending at 10:45. This class begins at 11 and goes to 12:40. Another nice thing about this is that these are both in 70 Murray. So this is a very easy transition time-wise between them. I can very leisurely go from, let's see, M309. Oh, same floor and everything. This is just a couple doors down. I have 15 minutes to make it a couple doors. So good time to, maybe refresh. But also this could be intense because I'm in class from 8 a.m. until 12:30 with very little break, and I'm rushing here between these two classes. So I probably will look for something else here. So the English department does use a lot of these asynchronous classes in conjunction with the hybrid class. So let's say I'm going to maybe take this guy here, this English class here, meets 8 a.m. on Monday. Actually, let's see. Let's do this one. Yeah, just as an example. So let's say I take this one. Okay, Wednesday afternoon, I can do that. Do a little bit of sleep in on Wednesdays. But here's the thing: we have some choices. We have 3 classes that do this exact same thing. So we have one class taught by Catherine Camilleri, Tracy Beeler, and then this one's staff. Staff means that they have not scheduled a teacher yet. They will, but they just have not done it yet. Again, another staff. So I have 4 options here. Okay. Couple things. How do you choose between them? Well, one thing might be where they meet. Okay, we'll have to see what elder. We have one more class to schedule. So we have this class is in Fitterman, which is right next door to Fitterman. This is a purely online class. This is also a purely online class. These both don't have the teachers yet, so you can't quite look for that. Sometimes you also have, they're starting to include more and more information here. The 0 textbook costs, that might be something I look for. Sometimes they will put the price here. Let's see. Okay, so let's say I want to do that in-person thing. Okay, so I have 2 choices here. This is Fitterman. They're basically the same building, 1 floor apart. It's Fitterman 612 versus Fitterman 707. Not a huge difference here. So I have the really only differences between the professors. So maybe I look online. One of the things I look for often is there a professor whose class is filling up quicker than the other? In this case, 5 and 6 are essentially the same. You can check out my ratemyprofessor.com to see the difference between these. Maybe you look up online. What can you learn about them? How experienced are they? What is their did they have really interesting experiences outside of teaching that make you interested in their class? So something else to look for. I'm going to stick with Catherine and put a pin in that. And schedule our last class, fundamentals of public speaking. Same thing. Let's cycle through. We've got 59 options here. Let's see. Okay, so if I do this class again, that 15-minute break, and what am I doing? So I'm going to close this guy up. So there's a speech that, so again, if this class ends, no, sorry, this class ends at 9:45, 10 o'clock gives me 15 minutes to go between them. 70 Murray to Fitterman is a much shorter walk. That's just around the block, or asynchronous class. Let's see. I'm going to keep looking. Oh, something, there we go. So this class here, that yellow bar tells me that there's something going on there. So this class is already filled up. Which this class, I don't know if you can see this, but this is December 6th. This is really early in the recruitment process for someone to fill up. This is the first class that we've seen that's filled up. One of the things that tells me is that maybe the professor is really strong and something that students are really seeking out. Okay, but that class is a wait list. Waiting lists early on in this, at this case, we have waiting list 004, meaning there's no one on the waiting list yet. You would be the first person on this waiting list. Not a bad idea. Because in December, early December, I likely will get into this class by late January. If you're doing this 2 days before the semester begins, getting on a waiting list might not be as safe an option. So that is really depends on the context of when you are signing up. Okay, so we're getting now later in the day. This is interesting. So this is an in-person class in Fitterman. My philosophy class here is in Murray, so it's just around the corner. I have a little bit more of a break here. So this class ends at 10:45. This one begins at 11:30. That gives me 45 minutes. Maybe I have a quick break for lunch here. So this might not be a bad idea. So let's go with that. And now I have 4 classes that only take up 3 days. My Tuesdays and Thursdays are pretty busy days. I got to really be on top of it on those days. Have my coffee in the morning. On Wednesdays, I have a leisurely morning. I can get there at 10 o'clock. I can get here early to do something if I want to. So this is not a bad schedule. Maybe you hate it. Maybe this is nothing like what you want. There's lots of personality and that goes into this, but I'm happy with the schedule. What do I do next? All right, I have some options at the very bottom here. Save as favorite. Really what you want if you like the schedule is you want to click get the schedule. We'll bring up this option here. I'm not going to drop my current classes, but you would see, you want the action here, enroll, do the actions. If you want to switch things up, you can also do the same thing. And you see, I have the option to drop my classes to switch into these, which is not what I want to do, but so I'm not going to click do actions, but there. And so that's how you do that. If you're like, hey, this schedule is all right, let me try something else. There was a diff philosophy class I want to try. What you can do is you can set it as a favorite. Save it, you call it something like, okay, how do you keep this separate? I call it the morning schedule. What if you tried to do something? What would my schedule look like if I did it in the evening? Right. So you can do things like that. And then this way you're okay, anyways, so you would save it over here. And then later on, if you're like, you can completely, dismantle this and mess it around with it. But if you're like, hey, you know what, the way I had it earlier, I like that better, you can bring it back. You can save a number of favorites over here so you can show someone, hey, these are the different schedules I'm thinking about. So those are some of the other things that you could do. And that's it. All right. Hope that was helpful. I hope that was useful. Good luck in your scheduling, and definitely talk to your advisor if you have other questions that might have come up that you want to consider.